All right. Hey, Benson, épisode 1, Mark Hubbard, take 2. We have to say take 2 because the first one did not record. We had a nice 40-minute conversation for nothing, which is not the first time we've had a 40-minute conversation for no reason.
Not the first time I wanted minutes of my life back from something with Johan.
let's move on. Mark Hubbard, born in Denver. So you played college at San Jose State, a school really recognized for its academic, right?
Uh, my business classes were good, but yeah, other than that, it was definitely a decision to play golf, get out of the snow for a while.
From Denver, yeah. And I remember uh, I remember when we were on tour seeing your name and then like 2-time All-American academic, and I was like, there's no way.
I still get that. Yeah, on the scoreboards for the PGA Tour, they do certain players did you know section, and mine that's my believe it or not, I was an academic All-American.
Yeah. Absolutely, I do not believe that.
Same thing.
Obviously around the world and everywhere, the COVID-19 is hitting hard. Where are you at? Where do you live now? Are you able to play golf? I see the golf attire. Did you play today? And then, where do you live? Are you allowed to golf?
Yeah, we're in the Woodlands, just north of Houston in Texas. We've been out here for about 5-6 years, and we have been fortunate. All of our courses are open and they're in great shape. Weather's been great, so yeah, I just got back from playing 9 this afternoon. I think it's if we do come back when we come back, I think it's going to be a big advantage for me because I've gotten to practice this whole time.
Are there any specific did the rules change even at your club?
They're doing everything to keep people safe. The range is shut down. It's one to a cart. There's no, sand divots in the cart. There's no rakes in the bunker. The holes are raised and the pins in. So I mean, everything's very safe. I mean, there's no contact with anything except your own equipment. So
yeah,
it is a little different. I'm not a big fan of putting with the pin in, so that's been a bit of an adjustment, but it's beats being stuck at home. So
yeah, no, absolutely. How excited are you? And for the restart mid-June, do you believe in it? Are you really excited about it?
yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. I think we still have a super long way to go. There's so many different moving parts, so many things that we have to figure out in terms of actually hosting a tournament. Um, but I think it's possible. I think there's definitely ways that we can do it. It's going to take a lot of creativity. So, I mean, I don't know. I think putting out a plan, giving us, some light at the end of the tunnel was the right thing to do. Who knows if we'll get to it, but fingers crossed.
You are in the process, 2019-20 of your best PGA Tour career so far, or best PGA Tour season so far, I should say. What's been the most exciting thing about this newfound glory, or you finally had some top tens and everything? What's the most exciting part of your success?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely why I want to get back, because I am having a good year, and it would be a shame, if we had to go to some sort of mega season. I definitely still have an advantage, but it would mitigate some of the hard work I put in this year already. But yeah, I just think this time around, I've been in contention so many more times. Like I said earlier today with you, I really, when you're growing up, you dream of, having putts to win and really, dealing with pressure on the course. And the first time I was on the PGA Tour, I made a lot of cuts, but I just wasn't in contention that much. And it's not the same putting for 45th place as it is putting for a top 10 or putting to have a chance to win. So just kind of, this time around, getting in contention more and just like feeling the nerves and feeling the adrenaline and stuff. It's almost a different sport this time around. It's just so much more fun being that much more competitive.
Fantastic. Did you purchase anything, a new car or anything like that, or?
No, you know me. I mean, I, I still have my crappy CRV.
All dinged up.
I was joking at the Honda this year on 15 for a hole-in-one. It was a brand new CRV. And I was like, I'm going to get a hole-in-one on that hole, and everyone's be going nuts, and you're going to hear Megan, my wife, in the background just like, no, because it's going to be another stupid CRV. She's been wanting to get a new car so bad. Yeah, no, we haven't bought anything. You know me, I'm easy.
Yes, you are. Where did your pro career start? When did you and I meet? And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got started up in Canada. I was up there on the Canadian tour for 2 years. Probably the most fun 2 summers I've ever had up there. I always joke around and say that you guys take your golf so much more seriously, and because your season's so short, but it's really true. I mean, the Canadian tour does an amazing job. Each city does an amazing job hosting, and it's such a fun experience up there. And it really got me ready for the Web and the PGA. I think the Canadian tour got me more prepared for the PGA tour than even the Web did, just with the way the courses are set up and the way each city hosts the tournaments. So that was awesome. We met in a bar in Saskatoon, Hudson's, I believe, at about 2:30 in the morning.
Right across from the Sheraton, yes.
Yep, and we've been in love ever since.
Exactly. Yeah, we spent a lot of time together after that, and then so that was when we met was your first year, and then the second year is when the PGA Tour took over, and it went from the Canadian Tour to the Mackenzie Tour, and you have a very important claim to fame. You are the first player that graduated from the Mackenzie Tour to the Korn Ferry and straight to the PGA Tour. So do you remember your win on the Canadian Tour? Now it's the Mackenzie Tour? Or?
I remember both of us were a little bit under the weather. I was not feeling great, so it's kind of a classic case of beware of the sick golfer, and you were overserved. So we were both in bad situations to start the week, but we both ended up, I mean, you finished like 3rd or 4th or something, didn't you?
And Kyle finished 2nd, and he was in worse shape than we were. So, yeah, it was terrific.
Yeah, it was a fun week. It was a beautiful place, and if I'm not mistaken, is that tournament no longer?
It's no longer there, no.
So wasn't I the first one, and then one of the few? So.
I think it was on the schedule the year after you, but then it went away because it's a sole owner. It's one guy who owns the club.
Yeah.
So it was just an unbelievable place. And then you went on to the Korn Ferry. So you and I played Korn Ferry together in 2014, and I couldn't, I didn't get many starts, and that's when I was really struggling with my back. And then you asked me to caddy for you in July. That's when I started, July of 2014.
You're really struggling with your back, so let's pick up a staff bag and carry that around every day.
I never said I was smart.
Yeah, me and Megan were talking about that earlier today. It's pretty crazy. Just 2014. How freaking good our graduating class was. I mean, Tony. Justin Thomas, Daniel Berger, and
Hadwin,
yeah, the list was crazy. And you had, because she was talking you up a little. You've definitely got some serious game, and it's crazy to think that you had web status that year when all those guys came out like that.
Yeah, it was a really hard year, and I remember finishing middle of the pack at Q School. And I got 2 starts, so it's very competitive out there, especially now that the PGA Tour controls, the 2nd tier and the 3rd tier now. It's really, really hard to Any funny people want to know, obviously, any funny moments of my over 100 events caddying for you? Anything that comes to mind?
Aside from all of the clubs you had to go find in the woods and various lakes, I think both of our favorite stories is from Palm Springs. You were a pretty good caddy, but a world-class 4 caddy. You love to walk ahead. So we were finishing on 9, and I was running a little hot, so I wasn't thinking. And so I tapped in on 8, and I threw my golf ball to probably like a 7, 8-year-old girl in the crowd. And I get to the tee, and all I see is my driver, and Johan's nowhere to be found. And of course, I look, and he's 300 yards down the fairway like usual. And so I go, and I realize I don't have a ball to tee off with. So I try and get the ball from the 7-year-old, and she refuses to give it back to me. So that my 2 playing partners, Ryan Palmer and Anirban Lahiri, had to negotiate with her and give her 2 sleeves of brand new Pro V1s to get my old dirty one back, just so I could finish my round in the PGA Tour, all because you were 4 caddying.
And speaking of the Pro V1, like, you've always been a Titleist staffer, but to add to that story, you could not just simply borrow a ball from your playing partners, because you play a different Pro V1. So explain a little bit to the viewers, why is your Pro V1 different than what you can find on the shelves?
Yeah, so I play a ball called the Left Dot Pro V1, and it's basically a Pro V1 that spins a little less and flies a little lower. And they have a lot of kind of specialty balls like that for us guys out there. And it's not because they're trying to hide anything. It's just they're so specific to people's games, they couldn't mass produce them the way they do just their normal balls. But basically, if enough guys continue to play a certain model from years past, they just kind of make a new ball out of it for the 10 or 20 guys on tour playing. And I've been playing that ball since 2015, probably 14, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you got tested, and it was Phoenix. You got tested in your rookie year, so 2015. Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you remember any of the incredible courses that we've played together? Because Mark and I got to play. We would play a few times a year, especially after the West Coast swing, because there's just not enough daylight out west. But after that, we would play quite a bit. But
yeah, we played almost. I wasn't in the Pro-Am, so we played almost every Wednesday. We had our weekly match, which of course Johan sandbagged the hell out of, and somehow got me to give him 3 or 4 shots aside, which is ridiculous.
I'm a caddy.
In California, I shot 63 one time and lost.
At the Bridges, which is incredible golf course right near Torrey Pines.
I feel like the course is pretty good. The facilities are insane. That clubhouse is a mansion. I mean, I think probably the best course that we played on a Wednesday was probably Ocean Forest. Don't you think?
Ocean Forest comes to mind. Oakmont.
Oh, Oakmont, yeah. That was the best. We drove 2.5 hours.
You were making fun of me for being overserved. We did play Prairie Dunes in Kansas.
Oh, I was very overserved at Prairie Dunes. Ooh, yeah. I played 13 holes at Prairie Dunes, and alternate mark Tim Burr played.
Tim Burr played the remainder of the round. Exactly. I'm wearing your favorite shirt, obviously Torrey Pines. Why do you skip Torrey Pines now every year?
I played there as a junior in the Junior Worlds, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a world-class golf course. It's a beautiful place, but it just doesn't fit my game. It's really long. I think it puts a demand on length more than accuracy, especially off the tee. The way they grow the rough out there, it's so long right off the fairway. So if you're barely missing the fairway, you're chipping out basically. Whereas if guys are just bombing it and then missing a couple 30 yards offline, like 30 yards offline, it's fine. You can hit anything. And then the greens are, they're Poana, they get bumpy. It just takes a lot out of me. I do love it there, but it's not a good course for me. I need 30 extra yards to play that course well.
Exactly. All right. Well, I have obviously, since I've announced that I was going to do these video interviews, I have a lot of questions from viewers. First one from Brett Fletcher. Who's your favorite pairing on tour?
I think historically, my favorite pairing has been Johnson and Wagner. We've got paired together quite a bit. he's a really cool guy. His caddy's super cool and nice. They're both big skiers, so we have that in common. And we just always seem to play well together and have fun. As of late, this go around, I think my favorite new pairing is Harry Higgs. He's, like I said earlier, he literally is like a cartoon character. He's like the nicest, most just like jovial guy. Wears the Wayfarer Ray-Bans the whole time he plays, unbuttoned down to his belly button pretty much. Like, he's just a riot. So he's probably up there for me.
Kevin, one of the assistants at Laval-sur-le-Lac, wants to know how often do you change clubs, irons, woods, grips? I know you're not much of a changer, and he also wants to know how many clubs you travel with.
Yeah. So yeah, going like I said, I'm still driving my 2010 CRV. I don't like shiny new things. So I'm on one end of the spectrum there. I mean, I'll play a set of irons for the whole year, maybe even two. Whereas a lot of guys will change, once or twice throughout the season. I'll probably go through a couple sets of wedges, whereas guys will go through, 5, 6, upwards of 10. So yeah, I'm not a big switcher of stuff. I use stuff till I break it or it gets broken somehow. And then as far as clubs traveling with, I would say 14, probably 18 or 19. The three clubs that are irreplaceable to me particularly are my 60 degree, my putter, and my driver. So I always bring backups of those. And then I bring a 2-iron and a 3-iron that I kind of swap in with my hybrid and my 4-iron.
Okay, so depending on the course, you vary.
I would say 85% of the rounds I go 4-iron hybrid, but sometimes it'll call for a 3-iron hybrid. Sometimes, like Bermuda, for example, I use the 2-iron out there because it's windy and narrow.
Yeah, correct. Question from another question that's from the staff at Laval. So, how'd you put up with me for 5 years?
Earplugs. I had to change
with the
side
in the ears, or do you use the earplugs, or do you just take them with a glass of water?
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty useless. There's no stopping you.
Good friend of mine, Tall Claude. He is tall. He's like 6'4". How do you feel about leaving the pin in? And like, when do you leave the pin in usually when we're not in a situation like now?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I wonder if when we come back, more or less people are going to be using the pin based on having to use it for all these months during quarantine. But I don't particularly like it. I almost never leave the pin in. The only time I would is if it was a situation where I was 50 feet away and I was going to have someone tend it anyways. I'll just say whatever, leave it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm legitimately trying to make a shot, whether it's a chip or a putt, I always take it out.
All right, Chris Milley wants to know: is it easy to balance golf the game versus golf your work?
It's tough, and it's something that I've struggled with over the years. I think it's probably one of the things that has contributed to my recent success more than a lot of other things is I've gotten much better at compartmentalizing stuff.
Duh.
I didn't have to do a lot to get better at that, but I was kind of starting at point zero. But yeah, I mean, like I definitely used to have, a temper, and it was more, I was just such a puppet to the outcome and my scores that, if you're living shot to shot where you feel like your self-worth is completely dependent on how your golf game is, like that's a pretty shitty lifestyle. And I definitely was falling into that. And now I just see it for what it is. I'm fortunate to be out here. I get to play a sport that I love, but once I step off the 18th green, like it's over, it's done with, there's nothing I can do about it. And frankly, I'm playing better now, but I'm a lot happier now too.
I mean, I have to be honest. There's some weeks where I almost signed you up for like the 5-hour daycare that the PGA Tour offers. I almost signed you up for daycare so I would get 5 hours off in a day. Well, that's okay. I mean, we made it through.
Yeah.
Eric Ross, best tip to play golf hungover.
Take more club and swing easy. I'm actually a pretty good hungover golfer. I don't think it's sustainable for a lifetime career, but every once in a while you need to throw in the occasional hungover round. And yeah, for me, I struggle with tempo the most. So when I'm feeling a little under the weather, I tend to swing smoother and hit it straighter. So
My favorite hungover story of you is in Jackson, Mississippi, on the second hole when you were severely hurting and you asked me to have a spectator stop moving, and then after I caught my breath from laughing so hard, I told him that you were the guy causing the shadow over the ball. That's just an all-time. Yeah. I mean, it was fantastic.
We were staying at a friend's house, and I was a little overserved on Saturday night, but we were in like 60th place, so we didn't feel like we had a whole lot to lose, and got after it pretty hard. And yeah, I was hurting the next day, and I was over my ball on the second tee and was waggling my club, and I was such a mess that I thought someone was moving behind me, but nope, it was me.
I remember that dinner. We had dinner with Nick Taylor, who went out to win that same week. Adam Hadwin was there. Randolph. We were in the back room of that steakhouse. I felt like we were like the Godfather or something.
Yeah, that was sweet.
All right, my questions. Worst shot you've ever hit on tour?
So we thought about this earlier, and I thought it was that chip that I hit in Memphis, just like makeable greenside chip that I just straight sculled across the green, like super embarrassing. But after considering it and talking about it, I definitely think it was the shot in Greenbrier, just because of the situation. I mean, I was like bogey free, 4 under, 17 holes into the day, like had not missed a shot. And I'm 100 yards dead center of the fairway, like it might as well be on a mat, like in a golf simulator, like no way you could screw the shot up. And I just boned, I mean, this nice high soft sandwich came out like a punch 2 iron. Never got above the flag. Not only was it a horrible shot, but then one hops over the green right into a guy's face. Thank God he was wearing sunglasses, but would have killed him. I'm like, I went the whole tournament, I hit one bad shot, and it was the worst shot of my life.
Favorite on-course adult beverage?
Historically, it's been gin and tonics, but
that's you and I.
Yeah, that's our go-to. But I don't think that's as much for enjoyment as punishment for our bad golf games. But yeah, I think probably a transfusion. It's vodka, Sprite, and grape juice, or I think you guys do ginger ale.
Ginger ale in the Carolinas, yeah. Rate my caddy skills from 1 to 10.
Yeah, like I said, you're probably a 12 out of 10 for caddying. And maybe like a 5 regular caddying, so we'll average that out to like an 8.
That's pretty good. I'll take that. Vegas 2017. What did you actually make on 18?
We'll never know. Yeah, like I said, I had a bit of a temper back in the day, and I needed to make a bogey or a double on the last hole to make the cut after playing pretty good before that. So that's why I was running a little hot. And of course, I snap hook it in the desert and missed like a 6-footer to make the cut. And a couple explosions went off between my ears, and I proceeded to sword fight or hockey stick, as you Canadians would say, around the hole for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 shots maybe? Who knows? Putting between my legs, hitting moving balls. Finally, somehow it goes in, and I went into scoring, and Montana, bless his heart, our rules official in charge of scorekeeping, I told him I had 0 idea what I made on the last hole, and he just goes, how about a 10? So officially in the scorecard books, it was a 10, but it could have been upwards of 50. Who knows?
Lastly, golf swing you wish you had. Obviously, that's not mine.
Yeah. We probably have exact opposite golf games, so I definitely don't watch when you play.
Yeah. I'm in the fairway and you're not. Is that what you're trying to say? Or?
Yeah, after aiming 100 yards left over the ocean. Uh, I would say my personal favorite swing is Phil Haas, just because I love his tempo, and like I said, that's a big key for me. I could just watch his nice little tempo all day. I don't, in terms of just pure golf swings, like there's not many guys that I stop and watch on the range, but if I'm hitting next to Rory or Adam Scott, like those two guys, just the quality of the strike, the repetitiveness, the shots that they can play, it's fun. I mean, they're on a whole nother level of ball striking.
Well, Mark Hubbard, this was take 2. Hopefully this one worked, and I can't thank you enough, and people are going to really enjoy knowing, and now they have someone new to cheer out on the PGA Tour. So best of luck the rest of the season. I love you. You know that, and see you down the road.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bud.
You're very welcome.